Hi there, Robin here, and in this video we are going to be talking about Harbinger's new line array, the MLS-1000, which has a 5-channel mixer. It also features things like Bluetooth, capability for 2 microphones, guitars, or line inputs. It also has stereo sync capability for 2 speakers. Easy, smart connectivity, which is really what it's all about. We're going to be talking about that, plus all the extra things you get when you buy into an MLS-1000. So we're going to cover the features and benefits, but most importantly, who should want to get one of these things and where you're going to want to use it. It's amazing what you can do with a line array today, and you can do that for a reasonable price. Now, to add icing to this whole cake, Harbinger also includes the slip covers for the actual columns, plus a slip jacket for the actual base module. So close to the end of the video, you will get a sound check on the actual system, but more importantly, you're also going to get a feel and understanding for why this is such a great way to go when you're looking for speakers. So many people are trading in their big 15s to get themselves a set of line arrays because, well, who wants to be the ones that have to carry those 65-pound 15-inch speakers inside an actual gig, then have to hoist it and get it on top of those stands? Get that all assembled. How many trips are we talking about? All the equipment required, plus the ability to, do that, get it up there, and then, pick up the pole and adjust it and do all that extra stuff. Line arrays take all those problems away. Anybody can set up a line array, and it's incredibly easy. We're going to actually start with that. We're going to unpack the actual line array from the packaging, and we're going to put it together and show you how fast and easy it works. And here we are. This is what the MLS-1000 looks like when it's packed in its travel case and slip cover. Now, these are both padded, which is very important because a lot of times this is, an afterthought. This is nice, less than 4 feet long, of course, because it's just the tops. It's roughly around 3 feet, but most importantly, this only weighs 13 pounds, where this weighs 30 pounds. Easy enough to carry around. It even has a place for its power cord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these down and we're going to put it all together. So to get started, of course, you just pull out the power cord right on the side pouch. You then find the little rubber corners, the little elastic bands holding the pouch in place, which is good. Slide the pouch off. And the speaker's all set. Of course, we're going to plug it in first. Make sure we've got a power spot for it. I do like getting this as close to where I want to have it before I move it, because I don't mind having one of the actual columns on, but I'm not going to have both columns on at the same time when I move it around. And here we are with our 2 columns. Now, I do like to actually pack the top column so this way the top is facing up. It just makes it easier. I know that's the second one. This one is the middle portion, the lower column. Now, the sticker, of course, is still on it, but it can go either way. There's no right or wrong. So, of course, when they put the sticker on, they went with the assumption you're going to put it on this way. But just to prove that you can put it on any which way, we'll put it on upside down. That easy. It just clicks into place. Nothing more complicated. Slide it in from behind. It locks in. There's even some bearings there, spring-loaded bearings to keep it in place. Now comes the top. Now, of course, this has got a finished top on it, so it's not going to go any which way except the right way. And that one slides in from the front. And again, it's done. That's it. It's as simple as that. Nothing more complicated. The rig is ready to go. Now, of course, like I said, if I'm going to move it around, I'll slide that off. And I can feel good about picking it up and carrying it around because I don't want all that extra weight tipping off the top. Now remember, that base was only 30 pounds. The top was 13, so altogether this is 43 pounds. Again, slide the top out. Back together. That's it. So let's talk a bit about what's going on the actual base module with the mixer. So first of all, I do want to say thank you to Harbinger for making these products available to us. The MLS-1000 is a very exciting speaker. If you want to learn more about the actual speaker, the links are down below. That will bring you to Guitar Center. We'll also have the links for Harbinger there for you as well. And also, if you decide you want to go down to the store, just go down to a Guitar Center and try it out. If you want, by all means, ask them to try out a guitar with it or any other instrument you have in mind. You are going to be pleasantly surprised. It does have 500 watts RMS, that's 1,000 peak. But remember, line arrays are built differently than regular conventional speakers. They are designed to project a smoother, richer sound that everybody in a room can enjoy. It's amazing how this all works. It's technologically impressive. In my book, I look at speakers all the time, and I really do like what people are doing with their line arrays. And here we are looking at the actual unit from behind. So we've got the back where all the actual input and of course outputs are located, and on top where we have all the control knobs. Now we do have features like reverb and chorus, and I'll get to that in a second, but let's just cover the actual inputs and where we get 5 inputs out of it. Now, important to note, there is no master volume on the back of this unit. They will be controlled via their gain controls. So gain and master volume outputs are individually placed on each knob. So what does that mean? We're going to treat this just like a mixer, being able to set our input 1, input 2, 3, and 4. Now take note that input number 3 lines up in a stereo package, so we do have a left and right. If we only have one input option, we're going to go into the left. Left and right is very handy to have because let's say we do have a keyboard or we have electric drums, we can plug that straight into here, both left and right channels. Input number 4 is designated for either the 3.5 or the built-in Bluetooth feature. Now you don't have to be afraid that somebody's going to accidentally pair off to your speaker, because you can turn the Bluetooth on and off physically and then also pair off to it as well. So all 4 input control options do offer bass and treble control to it. So now you're going to be able to increase or decrease your bass and treble for each individual input, making it a lot easier to get the sound you want out of this box. On input 1 and 2, you also get reverb option, and of course, a nice add-on is on input number 2, you also get chorus. So you can adjust this to get it just the way you want. Now that's great for vocals. And of course, if this isn't enough for you to be able to hook up all the equipment you want or microphones, you can simply plug a mixer into channel 3 and 4, allowing you to get full control over the entire system via your mixer. Some additional options are going to be located right in the back where you've got your channel 1 and channel 2. Now, of course, these are combo jacks, so these will take either a 3-pin XLR or a 1/4 inch balanced or unbalanced connection. The sliding switch on top gives us the option to go from line, a guitar, or microphone. This is why we see ourselves with a combo jack. Also, when it's in guitar, it has a built-in high Z function. Now that repeats on input number 1 and input number 2. When we power the unit on, the dashboard is going to first light up with all the buttons to show a full reset of the unit. Then we have voicing and routing options here. These are 2 buttons located in 2 separate sections. So on the top portion here where we say voicing, you're going to have a standard, live band, dance music, and speech mode. Now this is going to set the output EQ of the actual speaker. So we're either going to make speech sound much more defined, dance music can be much punchier, live band gives us a pretty much balanced reproduction of what's going on, and standard is what you put into it is what you get out of it. So the second actual button on the back of the unit is for the routing option. Now this is really exciting. We're going to actually demonstrate this in another video, but for now we're just going to cover exactly how this works. Routing is for setting up a second speaker. So what happens is on the back of the speaker there are 2 outputs. There's a direct output, which is something we'd hook up to anything else, maybe a subwoofer, or maybe if we're going to go to a mixing board, or maybe we need to hook up just a regular stage monitor or extra speakers. That would just be your traditional direct output right here. But on the MLS-1000 you get the routing option, which is really nice. That's our second output here. We've got an output and an input, and they both refer to them as link out, link in. What that means is I can actually put this speaker either in normal mode, or I can set it up in a stereo master, which means one would be the left speaker and the other one would be the right speaker. And by simply hooking up an actual speaker via the link out here, plugging into the second speaker, it'll automatically take charge of the second speaker. Any additional speaker would then be set up as a link input, which is why we see that. Don't forget to like this video at any point in time. That's how YouTube knows how we're doing. And if you'd like to subscribe because you haven't yet, please hit that subscription button as well. So being able to use this on the fly is really important. If you're using this in a live band setup, maybe you're just a solo artist or you're with 3 other people and you want to have something, you can easily get in there and adjust the bass and treble, which is nice to keep it separate. It really keeps the unit easy to look at. At a glance, you can tell where your bass and trebles are set on all the channels, which is very important because sometimes you just want to see, is it right? Do I need to make a small adjustment? Where is the other microphone laid out? That's what happens when you actually have knobs with good markers on them. You can see, you don't have to cycle through a menu or anything like that. You can easily just glance over, make a small adjustment, and the job is done. Same thing when it comes to setting up the chorus or the reverb. You can come in here anytime and just do a small adjustment. So those are good ways to have knobs set up. Now it's nice when you get a digital display and all kinds of stuff incorporated and laid out behind, or magic buttons that do multiple things. But they're very hard to set up on the fly and be able to do any adjustments live while you're performing. In this case, you can easily just look over and say, oh yeah, let me back that off a little bit, and you're good to go. You didn't have to figure out how to do anything. You're busy doing other things. You just want to be able to set this up and let it go. So here in front of me is the actual manual, because this is the part where I like to actually review the manual with you, so this way you have a good idea of what the manufacturer was thinking about when they actually built the product, because usually that's found in the book. Now, based on some of the ideas that they give you on how to use the product, you definitely know that they were thinking of, people who are singing, people that are going to run this in bars, pubs, like I was saying earlier, restaurants, that sort of thing, but more importantly, people that like to play guitar. It is Harbinger, by the way, so that's kind of a thing that I would expect to see in the product. And one of the things they talk about is actually the features when it comes to the reverb and the chorus in it. They actually suggest that if you're an acoustic guitar player, that you try out the actual chorus. You might find it very interesting. It's got a nice mild to heavy add-on to your sound, and you may enjoy that a lot. So again, if you're going to go down to the Guitar Center and give one of these a try, that would be something you'd want to see how that works out. The manual itself is laid out very well. It does cover all the overall features and how they work and how to operate them. They do give you a good troubleshooting guide to it, and they also make some great recommendations when, important things to know. Now, the first important thing to know is to read the manual. Second most important thing to know is don't lose your manual or throw it away. You may want to refer it later on. Outside of that, there is a neat thing that Harbinger does, which I think is cool. Just like a lot of companies, right on the back of the manual, they're telling you if anything arrives damaged or missing parts, please call us at, and they put this huge phone number on there. So this way you can get all the information you need right from there. That's really nice. This tells me that they're not hiding from you, the customer. The other neat thing is this added piece of paper, which is very thick, by the way. It's a nice heavy cardboard piece of paper. And again, it's basically them saying that if you have any questions, concerns, problems, or you need to learn how to use it and you're having difficulty, please call them, not the actual retailer you bought the product from, which is kind of nice because it's kind of like coming up front saying, you can have questions, that's okay, give us a call, here's the number. And the added fact that you can actually play a backtrack on here via the Bluetooth or using the 3.5, that's another great little feature to have built into it. So let's have a look at the actual neodymium drivers that are located on the unit. There are 6 of them, and I am going to call this a line array, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. But really the important glance here is to have a look-see at how all the actual drivers are placed on a different angle when it comes to setup on this actual unit. So if we stay focused on just a couple of the drivers here, you're going to notice that each driver is not just on an angle to the left and to the right. Each one is actually on a tilt as well. So some are tilting up, some are tilting down, and the amount of tilt changes. So we do get a broader view this way and a broader view. So when we say wall to wall, floor to ceiling action, this is really what's going on. And this is what defines an actual line array. If this was a column array, all these actual speakers would be lined up perfectly straight in front of us, no tilt, no actual left and right motion to it. It would just be a straight up vertical placement. Now think of that as the ones you see a lot in a house of worship, where you actually have speakers that look similar to this in their packaging, and they're mounted on the actual columns. Now the columns that they're mounted on, or the pillars, have no reference to the name of the speaker. Column array is basically a subcategory of a line array. And of course, a line array can be either traditionally what we've seen, or we think of big concert settings where you have these big massive speakers that are hanging from floor to ceiling and they're stacked 20, 30 high. let's just say if we're setting something up into a bar or a club or a restaurant and we want to get full coverage of the floor, this is what you're looking for. This is going to give you bigger, better coverage with a nicer sound reproduction. So here's the actual base module without the actual cover on it. We've got 2 ports on top. We've got our 10-inch driver, and down at the bottom we've got a power indicator light on it. So this speaker does generate a great amount of bass. So if we're using it in a bar or a restaurant setting where we're going to be setting up 1 or 2 of these, this is going to do the job really well. Now a lot of people think, well, you know, the driver's all the way down at the bottom and the mids and highs are coming out way at the top. How good can that sound? Well, if you wanted to use this just like we do in an actual studio environment, as long as you have the speaker about 6 feet away from you, you're not going to tell there's a difference. But the amazing part is this is going to carry really well across an actual bar or a restaurant. Now, of course, anything with a stage set up like a pub where you're going to be set up in one corner, this will carry across the entire space. Now remember, even though this is classified as an actual subwoofer, it has to carry a lot of the actual bass response. So anything below a mid bass and lower has to come through here. So if you really want to add a punch to this, you want to double down, you could always use the main direct output in the back and add a subwoofer if you really want to punch it up. But of course, that being said, anything you're going to put into this will come out of this driver. I'm not worried about that at all. It doesn't matter if you're actually going to be playing dance music or country music, or you're going to be using it for a choir at a church. So let's talk about the interlocking system. Now this is a slide and lock system which has 2 grips inside of each slot here, and then it has 2 slotted pins. These are very long pins, very stiff, so I mean you cannot bend these pins. They're not going anywhere. You can't bang them down. They're solid. This is really like to the graded quality of, let's say, a plug socket in the wall. It's got that kind of strength to it. Now these 2 are going to slide and lock together, which is going to give us a perfect contact. So each slot isn't relying on just one contact point. There's like multiple contact points inside the slot. So to connect the 2 units, we're going to physically slide this guy in front of this guy. Now there are some spring-loaded ball bearings in the back, which are going to fall into these divots, and that's going to lock it all in place. So again, we just pick it right up, push it back, clicks in place. That is done. Now I've done a lot of actual line arrays that have, you know, drop down load mechanism to them, which are really good, but eventually what seems to happen is they can get really settled in there and makes it hard to come off. Now this is just going to simply slide forward, and it's going to behave the same way regardless if it's the first time you put it on or maybe the 150th time you put it on. Just line it up, push it there, and it's done. So I don't think we're going to see that long-term compression problem that we see with some of the other speakers. Now, of course, this doesn't even require any cable running or anything else, and it has, of course, a full matching set running top to bottom. When you order the product and it gets shipped to you, it's going to come in 2 boxes. That's really nice because that means it's going to be packed really well. It does come in a retail box, of course, that's what you would see in the store, but that box is actually in a shipping box, which is extra bonus because we all know how shipping companies can be sometimes. But it's done very well and it's packed really well. Also take note, when cutting into the box, the covers are already slipped onto the actual speaker, so don't go really hard with your knife. Gently cut it open so you can take a look inside and then unpack it properly. So remember, altogether you are looking at 48 pounds, but that's going to be broken up between 2 actual carrying cases. You're going to have the base module, which is going to be 33 pounds, and the actual columns in their bag is going to be 15 pounds. I'd also like to let you know at this point in time that this is a series of videos. This is being the full video that you're watching right now, where we go through all the bells and whistles of the speaker and how it works and all interconnects. Videos that show you how to hook up a mixer to your MLS-1000, so if you need more channels, that's a really good video. There's also going to be a video on how to connect a subwoofer to your MLS-1000s. There's also a video that's going to talk about how to, in detail, to connect 2 speakers together. It is so easy. That's a great video. And we're also going to have another video that actually compares the MLS-1000s with a couple of other styles and brands, so this way you get a good comparison. All of that's going to be in the actual playlist located at the end of the video, and of course we'll have a link up to it at the top. So here we actually have 2 of the MLS-1000s, and this part I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually do the linking of 2 speakers. It's so simple that you really need a video, because if not, you're just going to think it's way too complicated. All you need is an XLR cable, which we probably all imagine we needed, and we're going to follow the link options, which are here. This is going to be our master speaker, so we're going to link out of this guy, and then we're going to link into this guy. And at this point, all we need to do is come to our routing options here, choose it to either be in normal, mono, or in stereo mode. So I'm going to choose stereo. And now on the actual second speaker, which is going to be considered the secondary, we're going to bring that down to link in, which means this guy here. And it's done. I no longer have to worry about any of these control knobs here or any of these inputs here. This speaker is now linked to here. No volume controls. Everything's going to be controlled from the master speaker. Now that's great because that means this speaker is just automatically going to work. It'll be just as loud as this speaker regardless what I do here. This one will automatically adjust. So if you're planning on going down to the Guitar Center, by all means, down in the comment section, let me know how it goes. If you're just starting off and you're saying, I'm going to go there, I want to hear that in person, let me know down in the comments. If you've actually gone there and heard one of their line arrays, let me know what you think about it down in the comments as well.
Catch me howling at the moon.
So at this point, I'd like to say thanks for watching. Maybe I'll send you the next video. Bye for now.